there, good morning to the Bono East region. A Mountain Senior High School is in crisis as students sit on the floor for lessons. Later on the international front, Rwanda's Kagame Islam's criticism of East Congo offensive as rebels push south. Coming up in sports and recreation minister designate Kofi Adams has expressed concern over the standard of astroturfs built in the country in recent years. Details of all these stories and many more coming up shortly. Remember, we are streaming live on Facebook at Globe TV GH. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. I am Sandra BOAHEN. We are starting our first details from the presidency. Now, President John Dramani Mahama has emphasized that the constitutional review process is a national responsibility aimed at strengthening Ghana's governance framework rather than a partisan initiative. Speaking at the inauguration of the Constitution Review Committee on January 30, President Mahama underscored the need for collective effort and unity in reshaping the country's legal framework. Mr. Mahama reaffirmed his commitment to seeing the constitutional amendment through, stressing that previous efforts must not go to waste.
I take great pride in the composition of this committee. You have not been chosen out of political consideration, but for your integrity, expertise, and commitment to Ghana's progress. This exercise is not about any political party. It is about Ghana. It is about ensuring that our constitution reflects the values, hopes, and dreams of every Ghanaian, regardless of their background or affiliation. Your diverse perspectives will enrich this process, and I urge you to engage widely with citizens from all walks of life in this process. This constitution must belong to all of us. It must inspire trust, it must unite us, and it must provide a framework for a more just, inclusive, and prosperous Ghana. On behalf of the people of Ghana, I express my profound gratitude to each of you for taking up this national duty, especially at such short notice. Your willingness to serve is a testament of your love for country and your dedication to Ghana's future. We stand at the threshold of a new chapter in our democratic journey. Let us approach it with wisdom, urgency, and a shared commitment to building a Ghana that will continue to stand as a beacon of democracy and hope, not only in Africa, but in the world.
We are still on this story because President John Dramani Mahama has also announced a new government policy prohibiting the issuance of mining leases in all forest reserves. Speaking at the swearing-in ceremony for the third batch of ministers on Thursday, President Mahama also revealed that his administration would swiftly revoke all mining licenses previously granted for operations in forest reserves under the previous government and warned new ministers against involvement in illegal mining activities.
Honorable Kofi Amaboa, as Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, you will be charged with the duty of safeguarding the environment from marauding galamseyers and managing our natural resources effectively. Let me take this opportunity to state that it shall be the policy of this government to ban the issuance of leases for mining in all forest reserves. We shall also move promptly We shall also move promptly to revoke all leases issued for the same purpose under the previous government. I also need to state here that no member of this government is permitted to engage in any form of small-scale mining or galamsey. Any such persons will face sanctions which shall be swift and severe. We intend to call a stakeholder consultation on the menace of galamsey to forge a broad consensus on the measures we intend to take to preserve our environment from wanton destruction. This will involve, but not limited to, the following: a river guard, which will employ youth from the communities affected by illegal mining, cleaning and eliminating toxic substances from our water bodies, reclaiming mined-out lands, training small-scale miners in sustainable mining practices. We've also begun the establishment of the Gold Board.
The Minister Designate for Labour, Jobs and Employment, Dr. Rashid Pelpiu, has pledged to improve the working conditions of public sector employees in Ghana. He emphasized the need for equitable wages and proposed policy measures aimed at enhancing productivity while ensuring public workers receive competitive salaries. He emphasized that Ghanaians should not be cheated and that those who cannot meet the minimum wage requirement will have to answer for it.
I have very full confidence in the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission as an organization that can help harmonize the policy and ensure that we get the best out of what we put in our workforce. I will definitely work with them to see how we can do it, because it is a complex issue. You are dealing with huge numbers of people. You are dealing with huge numbers of organizations. You want to create a system for each single person working. There is an output worth the inputs. So it deserves a lot more thinking than just a direct answer I will give you. But I can assure you that it is something that I'm going to work very hard with the Fair Wages Commission to see how we can deal with it, because it's also a constitutional issue. Thank you.
If we agree on a minimum wage, the law is that it cuts across every organization. You shouldn't pay below that minimum wage. So if we find anybody doing so, you'll be subject to questioning. And if you violate the law, will be prosecuted. We may not prosecute you, but it's important for you, for us to take it up to the levels where the right things are done. Ghanaians should not be cheated. We know how much the minimum wage is, just about 18.5 Ghana cedis. And if you can pay up to that, then it will bring many, many questions on your kind of organization. Thank you.
The majority leader in Parliament, Mahama Ayariga, has proposed a pension fund scheme for members of Parliament aiming to provide financial security after their service. Mahama Ayariga emphasized that this scheme should be funded through carbon credits rather than taxpayer money.
Moving a motion on the floor of Parliament on January 29, the majority leader, Mahama Ayariga, lamented the state of members of Parliament after leaving the House. He believes that knowing they have a secure financial future will motivate MPs to work efficiently and avoid corruption and serve their constituents' best interest.
Parliamentarians who know they are well catered for when they retire will be difficult to bribe and improperly influence. They can devote their attention to work and put up their best for their constituents and country. They will make Ghana great again. They can more adequately resist pressure from lobbyists and certain interest groups.
Additionally, Mahama Ayariga emphasized that this is funded through carbon credits rather than taxpayer money.
So on the basis of that, I am proposing to this House for us to design a pension scheme that will cater to the needs of parliamentarians when they decide not to run for office again, or they run but they lose their elections and they are no longer here in this house. We want to establish a scheme, but we don't want the pensions of members of parliament to become a burden on the taxpayer. And so we are proposing to design an MP's pension scheme that is going to be funded from carbon credits, revenue from carbon credit.
The proposed scheme has garnered attention, with MP Patrick Boama highlighting the need for government support to utilize carbon credits for funding.
He's also proposing that we look at carbon emissions or carbon credit to fund ours. It's a matter of policy for the government to decide whether the government is going to support this policy, because to trade your carbon is a matter of the executive taking that decision.
Following discussions, Parliament has decided to establish a committee to explore the proposal further.
The Minister Designate for Environment, Science and Technology, Murtala Mohammed, has emphasized the need for alternative solutions to tackle plastic waste in Ghana, rather than imposing an outright ban on its importation and usage. Appearing before the Appointments Committee on January 30, Mohammed cautioned that a complete ban without alternative solutions would have severe consequences.
The Minister-designate Murtala Mohammed stresses the need for segregation of waste to be done in homes to address the menace, emphasizing the need for more education. He also intends to demonopolize the management of waste in the country if given the nod.
In other jurisdictions, the segregation starts at home and in the communities. That is not what we experience in our part of the country. What do we then need to do to ensure that there is some proper education and sensitization of domestic users and disposal of waste? I intend to demonopolize the management of waste in this country, and by engaging local government authority and SMEs.
Ghana's plastic waste pollution crisis is indeed a pressing environmental issue. The country generates approximately 840,000 tons of plastic waste annually, with only about 9.5% of collected plastic waste being recycled. The remaining waste is disposed of indiscriminately, contributing to groundwater contamination, air pollution, and flooding. The improper disposal of plastic waste has severe consequences, including the outbreak of waterborne diseases like malaria and cholera. To address this issue, there have been calls to ban the importation and usage of plastic in Ghana. However, the Minister-designate for Environment, Science and Technology, Murtala Mohammed, has opposed this move, emphasizing that a complete ban will have dire consequences.
I think in response to this, just like I responded to your earlier question, you don't just ban because there is a challenge. You need to be looking for alternatives. So if you don't have the alternative and you go ahead to ban, the consequences will be dire. So what I think I will do is that let's have a comprehensive, study on the issue and find out the alternative. How do we support our domestic industry to come out with, if you like, reusable containers, biodegradable packaging, and these are things that other countries have done. Rwanda didn't just ban, they came out with some of those things to be able to stabilize the system before they went ahead to impose such bans. So I think that is what
Former two-term Member of Parliament for Lower West Gifty Clenham has significantly switched from the New Patriotic Party to the ruling National Democratic Congress. This move marks a new chapter in her political career as she received her NDC membership card in the local constituency of the Volta region on Thursday morning. In an address, Clenham explained her decision, citing ideological alignment and confidence in the NDC's policy direction as primary factors.
I want to first state my appreciation and heartfelt gratitude to the MPP, having given me the opportunity to serve on their ticket as MP for 2 terms and a short-lived time as a CEO under His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo's government. But I strongly believe that with the factors carefully considered, the best way to achieve the Ghana we all dream of is through the NDC. Upon reflection and extensive discussion with my family, I believe the NDC align more with my current values and vision for Mother Ghana. I think it's time for the people who love Ghana to be bold and do whatever is necessary for Ghana's development. I bring with me twice the amount of fire, experience, and zeal to join my new family, the NDC, and I am grateful to the NDC for opening their arms and accepting me. I have already begun to make effort to contribute actively to that effort in the NDC, starting with a good governance card membership in the party and other political support in this just past election. I intend to immediately connect with the NDC grassroots to hear their concerns and see how I can help. My personal office is available to all NDC patriots, the grassroots, and like-minded Ghanaians, especially the youth, to assist in any way that I can. I am very grateful to the NDC faithful for the warm reception I have received so far. NDC.
Coming up on the program, Minister Designate for Communications Welcome back from the break. The Minister Designate for Communications, Digitalization and Innovation, Sam George, has pledged to take a firm stance against mobile network operators that fail to meet service quality standards, warning that fines will be imposed when necessary. During his vetting before Parliament's Appointments Committee, the Ningo Pram MP stressed the need for reliable telecommunications services and assured that regulatory measures, including financial penalties, would be strictly enforced to hold network providers accountable.
Ghanaians have had concerns in terms of, again, the cost and the treatment that they receive from the telephony group. You make a call and they tell you the call is out of coverage area, the number you are calling cannot be reached when the person is right in distance with you. When you put all of these together and the cost that one needs to pay for such services, what are you going to do as a minister to assure Ghanaians that whatever cost we incur in these service areas receive the needed benefits of those costs?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Once again, on the issue of voice calls, I think that the real issue with voice calls is not necessarily the cost, if I understand the market. It's what you've just pointed out in your follow-up, the quality of service. That's where consumers and customers have a problem, and that's where we all face the challenge, where you're making calls and the rate of call drops and call failures are extremely high. I agree with you that there is work that needs to be done from the ministry by way of policy through the regulator, the National Communications Authority, to ensure that the KPIs for the MNOs and service providers is enhanced and that we ensure strict adherence to it. If you set the KPIs low, every MNO is going to pass it. But the question is, are we having the real consumer experience that citizens have to have? As Minister Designate, I think no. I think that there's a lot of work that the telcos have to do. Government also has to do some work, because for you to get better quality of experience, you need to allocate more spectrum to the MNOs. So as Minister Designate, if approved by this House and I become the Minister, one of the things we'll work with the regulators to do is to make more spectrum available to the MNOs. However, we'll be raising the KPIs and ensuring that the standards are met. And I will not be a minister who will be afraid to impose fines on MNOs who fail to meet the quality of service. Ghanaians deserve the best quality of service. And we would crack the whip where necessary, but we would also support the MNOs to ensure that they get what is needed to provide us the best quality of service. I thank you.
We have a disturbing report coming in from the Amantine Senior High School in the Bono East region, where students are being forced to sit on the bare floor for lessons due to a severe shortage of furniture.
The school, with an enrollment of 2,562 students, have only 700 chairs, leaving many students to sit on the floor for their lessons. The situation is dire, with some classrooms having inadequate furniture, compelling students to sit on the floor. According to the students, they struggle to learn in these conditions. Apart from furniture challenges, the students also face difficulties with access to water and inadequate classroom blocks.
Dormitories, any so, and I hear free about.
We beg the government to provide us many things. Lack of dormitories, lack of classrooms, furniture. Sometimes we'll be sitting on the floor to write in the classroom.
The students also lament the food being served in the canteen, stating that it is insufficient and lacks taste. Likewise, they have no dining hall and are forced to eat under mango tree.
The girls, we used to sleep at the dining hall, and then the population is growing high, and then we used to eat under the trees. Our toilet facilities too are no good, so we used to go to the bush.
For me, the food is not taste for us. It's not taste. It's no too much for us. It's too small. To chop this food, it will reach you. Chop this food up to the evening time. If you're hungry, you can sit at one place to learn.
We don't have more food, no tables. We are suffering. But when we come to eat, we'll be just standing. We don't know where we'll get food to eat. So they didn't give us bread, sugar, and the rest.
The head teacher of the school declined to comment on the situation, citing the Ghana Education Service policies. However, observations reveal that students are struggling to take notes and their uniforms are getting dirty from sitting on the floor. Relevant authorities are urged to take immediate action to address the challenges facing Amantine Senior High School.
Away from the Bono East region, the Ghana National Fire Service has strongly condemned the reckless behavior of bystanders who interfere with firefighters during fire outbreaks. The service warns that any further interference or heckling of firefighters will not be tolerated and may lead to serious consequences.
On Tuesday, January 28th, firefighters responded to a bus fire incident at Akache, but their efforts were hindered by onlookers who attempted to seize equipment, filmed the scene, and made unfounded accusations. This interference, according to the Ghana National Fire Service, not only disrupted the firefighting team, but also delayed the operation, posing a significant risk to lives and property. The Ghana National Fire Service is therefore urging citizens to cooperate operate during fire incidents, allowing firefighters to work unhindered and maintain their professionalism. The service warns that any further interference or heckling of firefighters will not be tolerated and may lead to serious consequences. The incident is currently under investigation, and the Ghana National Fire Service is working to ensure that such incidents do not recur in the future. The service aims to provide efficient and effective fire and rescue services, and any interference may compromise the ability to do so. They are therefore urging citizens to respect firefighters and allow them to perform their duties without.
On the international front, Rwanda's Kagame slams criticism of East Congo offensive as rebels push south the state. President Paul Kagame said Rwanda was ready for confrontation as he rejected criticism over his backing for M23 rebels who were pushing south on Thursday in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo after capturing the major city of Goma.
President Paul Kagame said that Rwanda was ready to, quote, deal with any possible confrontation with South Africa should it arise over the conflict in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. The long-simmering conflict in Congo has intensified over the last week, with M23 rebels capturing the strategic city of Goma. Congo, South Africa and others accuse Rwanda of backing M23. Kagame has rejected criticism over his country's role in the conflict. Of East African leaders, Kagame accused South African President Cyril Ramaphosa of distorting recent conversations about the conflict.
He's also there pretending to be playing a peacemaker role, and he has a force that has been fighting alongside FDLR and has been fighting the M23 on the instructions of Tshisekedi, because these are people who are not supposed to be in Congo, that these are from Rwanda, or the M23 are not Rwandans, please.
Congo President Felix Tshisekedi did not attend the virtual summit. Instead, he gave a speech to the nation in which he promised a military campaign to recover lost territory.
Poursuivent leur entreprise terroriste sur notre territoire.
Rwanda is facing an international backlash over its actions in eastern Congo. It has repeatedly intervened there, either directly.
Coming up in sports and Recreation Minister designate Kofi Adams has expressed concern over the standard of astroturfs built in the country in recent years in the state. Sports and Recreation Minister designate Kofi Adams has expressed serious concern over the standard of astroturfs built in the country in recent years. He registered this concern when he appeared before the Parliamentary Vetting Committee after his nomination by Ghana President John Dramani Mahama. He made it known that he has plans to get the National Sports Authority to play the role it is supposed to play before touching on concerns connected to the astroturfs.
The number of astroturfs we have in our country now, I don't know if you have taken inventory of the number now. What we have now, are you aware of it? The total number of astroturfs we have.
I don't know the total number that we have. However, I have some concerns about the astroturfs. Some of them, truly speaking, have not been constructed to standard. And I don't know whether you are aware that in one instance, it resulted in a very serious injury to the head of a player because the space between the touchline and the metal was so close, it's not up to standard, that it caused an injury when the player was chasing after the ball. So we will look at them, the ones that are not standard, in order to avoid some of these injuries. Maybe we may not use them for such other sports, but we will not use them for football, but we can use them for other sports and recreational activities that will not demand a certain chase of the ball.
The Minister of Sports and Recreation designate also revealed that conversations are underway to provide financial assistance for individuals who play in Ghana's Premier Football League division.
Well, thank you very much. We have discussed funding. I'm aware that we have a debt of about 468 million sitting there that must be dealt with. I equally also know that the challenge we have is the NSA, which is the bridge. Sometimes it's not allowed to also interface and deal with GFA, especially when it comes to Black Stars funding. We intend to make sure that we re-strategize so that NSA will play the role it's supposed to play, and some amount of money will be made available from the savings to get the other sports functioning. Again, we will have to receive budgets from all of them. So the later that comes, every federation knows how much is available to them, so none will be left out.
Mr. Chair, yes. I also want to find out, do you have any plans with reference to footballers who are no more playing, other sportsmen who are no more in active sports? Do you have any pension plans for them?
Well, we have talked about this in our manifesto, that we want to encourage the active ones now to make sure that they contribute to a pension scheme. I am sure when I get into the office through the approval of this committee and the House, we will work other modalities to see those who have already retired and see what we can do for them. You remember some time back, His Excellency the President, then candidate, have to intervene to save the goalkeeper of the Black Queens to get her a decent accommodation. I don't think that our heroes and heroines should go through such a situation. So I agree with you that we must do something about that.
And that brings us to the end of sports. We take a recap of the top stories. President John Dramani Mahama has announced a new government policy prohibiting the issuance of mining leases in all forest reserves. And also Rwanda's Kagame slams criticism of East Congo offensive as rebels push south. In sports, Sports and Recreation Minister designate Kofi Adams has expressed concern over the standard of astroturfs built in the country in recent years. And that's the package for you this morning. I am Sandra Edu BOAHEN. Up next is CSA. No saying, do enjoy your weekend.